In the quiet little coastal town of Salucia, Spain, there's a story they only tell after dark. It's a legend about love, about a terrible betrayal, and about a ghostly wait that just never ever ends. So today, we're going to pull back the curtain on the chilling tale of the dead bride.
I mean, think about it. What really happens when a promise is broken so badly that it echoes for more than a century? Well, one unsuspecting student was about to find out the answer the hard way.
All right, so let's set the scene. Our story kicks off in Salucia, a gorgeous little town right on the Spanish coast. And this is where we meet our main guy, a young student who came for the beautiful architecture. But yeah, he was about to uncover something ancient and absolutely terrifying hiding just beneath the surface. During the day, Salucia is like something out of a travel magazine. Picture-perfect white-walled houses, the sound of church bells. But when that sun dips below the horizon, a really strange chill just settles over everything. The streets become completely empty. It's almost like the entire town is hiding from the night itself. And this is where Mateo Guerrero steps in. He's 19, an architecture student from Madrid, and he's in Salucia to sketch all these ancient churches and historic homes. But it doesn't take him long to notice the town's bizarre, silent evenings, and he starts to wonder, what is everyone so scared of? So Mateo's accidental investigation really begins with the first piece of this whole twisted puzzle. He's out exploring one evening and stumbles upon something that just feels wrong, right there in the Old Town Cemetery. A discovery that's about to unleash one hell of a haunting. Smack in the middle of the cemetery, he finds this thing, a broken-down wedding arch, somehow still decorated with these faded, dried-out flowers from a ceremony that must have happened ages ago. And it's standing over this one patch of soil that's just darker than all the ground around it. He kind of shrugs it off at first, but this is where it all begins. And yup, that very night, the weirdness starts. First, he hears this faint, rustling sound, like silk dragging, right outside his window. Then he catches a glimpse of a silhouette, a woman in a long white gown who just vanishes around a corner. The next night, he finds fresh, muddy footprints on the stone road, and they lead directly back to that cemetery. You know how it is when something gets under your skin? He just can't let it go. So one night, at the super creepy and specific time of 2 a.m., Mateo decides to follow that muddy trail all the way back to the cemetery. He's got to figure out what's going on. He gets to the broken arch, and there she is. A woman in a torn-up, ancient-looking wedding gown, just standing there, perfectly still, like she's been waiting for a very, very long time. And this unnatural quiet just falls over the whole cemetery. It's so silent he can hear his own heart pounding in his chest. She slowly turns toward him, and her veil kind of shifts. And what he sees, it's pure nightmare fuel. Her face is this dead, chalky white. Her eyes are like these hollow, dark pits, and there are these dark, dried stains running down her cheeks, almost like she cried tears of blood a long, long time ago. But then Mateo sees the most terrifying part. Her feet, they aren't touching the ground. The next morning, a completely freaked out Mateo goes to the guest house caretaker, and the moment Mateo mentions the wedding arch, the old man's face just goes white. He spills the whole local legend of the dead bride. Some call her the corpse bride, the ghost of a woman named Isabella Romero. So the caretaker lays out this tragic story from way back in 1889. This young woman, Isabella, was supposed to marry her true love Javier, but on their wedding night, he just never showed. Turns out, he'd run off with another woman. Isabella waited all night right under that arch, in the cold. By morning, they found her dead. The story says she died of a broken heart. They buried her right there on that spot, and ever since, people have seen her spirit, just waiting. Forever waiting for the groom who never came. Now, after hearing this, Mateo is horrified. He realizes what he saw wasn't a dream. And the thing is, once you know her story, the haunting doesn't just stay in the cemetery anymore. It follows you home. That night, he hears them. Footsteps right outside his bedroom door. A shadow falls under the crack at the bottom. The air gets thick with this smell of wet dirt and old, decaying flowers. And then he watches, frozen in fear, as his doorknob starts to slowly slowly turn. Then he hears it. Not really a sound, more like a thought planted directly in his mind. A faint, ghostly whisper. Open the door. The handle stops. The room is filled with this heavy, awful silence. Who or what is on the other side of that door? And then suddenly, the door just swings wide open by itself. Mateo screams, but there's no one there. The hallway is completely empty. He feels this rush of relief for just a second until he glances over at his window. And there she is, pressed right up against the glass, staring in at him with those same horrific eyes. Okay, so Mateo is desperate now. He runs to the local priest, who asks him one single chilling question. Did you take anything from the cemetery? And Mateo's blood just turns to ice. He remembers picking up some of those dried flowers from the arch. The priest's explanation is terrifying. By taking the flowers, Mateo basically marked himself. The spirit now thinks he's her groom, finally come back to get her. The priest tells him, "You have to leave Salucia, now, or she will never let you go." Terrified, Mateo sprints back to his room to grab his stuff, but it's already too late. The trap has been sprung. There are fresh, muddy footprints leading into his room now. He looks outside, and the sky has turned black as a violent storm just rolls in out of nowhere. The lights in the house flicker and then die, plunging him into total darkness as thunder cracks right overhead. There's no way out. So Mateo is trapped there in the dark, heart about to explode out of his chest, and then a huge flash of lightning illuminates the entire room, and for one horrible split second, he sees her. The dead bride isn't outside his window anymore. She is standing right in front of him. The caretaker heard the screaming and came running, but when he got to the room, it was empty. Mateo was just gone. A search party found his body hours later, right back where it all started. Lying under the broken wedding arch, covered in wet, dark soil, the dead bride had finally claimed her groom. The legend says Isabella's spirit took Mateo to be her husband forever, but her tragic, endless wait isn't over. That arch still stands in that lonely cemetery, and the people of Salucia are still left with one terrifying question: who's going to be next?